So the NBA yesterday did something, and it's just a crock. You know I've been pro player forever. There's terrible billionaires. They move teams all over the place. I mean, Cleveland before LeBron and after is a poorly run business. Doesn't matter if it's an NBA team or a waste management business. Sometimes it feels like both. It's bad. It's poorly run. So yesterday, the NBA fines Anthony Davis and his agent $50,000 for publicly requesting a trade. By the way, the NBA media, guys like me, ask players all the time if they want to stay somewhere. So a player can't talk about, like, his future. Now, think about this. The NBA encourages its star players to talk about politics, to talk about social issues, talk about the president. They encourage that. But if a player talks about hoops, there's a $50,000 fine. Well, then are you going to make sure that NBA media doesn't ask LeBron or Kyrie Irving or Anthony Davis or Kawhi Leonard about where do you want to play? You don't quite understand this. Okay, I read this morning LeBron could get fined for tampering. Really? Don't you encourage all your stars to go to social media? LeBron's on social media all the time. Isn't that the strength of the NBA? They're better than the NFL on social media. But you're going to fine them as long as they tweet about the president, social issues, policy. But if you tweet about a basketball player, we're going to fine you $50,000. This is a charade. It's a con job. There's always been two stories in sports. The one league sell you and then the truth. This is a con job. The NBA loves this. Adam Silver absolutely loves this. That's why the fine's only $50,000. $50,000 for a major agent and a superstar in the NBA, that is tip money for the rest of us. By the way, do you think it's a coincidence? I mean, Joy and I have been in this business a while. That the Anthony Davis, LeBron Laker thing broke at 7 a.m. Eastern Super Bowl week on Monday. So as all the sports radio stations in America, the 6,000 sports radio stations, are jumping into their NFL talk, what do you know? The story broke at 7 a.m. on Monday of Super Bowl week and flooded every show. You think that's a coincidence? This story could have broken on Saturday, could have broken last week. It just so happened to break on Morning Drive, 7 a.m. Wednesday. Okay, this is the big con. The NBA loves this. You don't think the NBA loves? LeBron's been out for a month. The ratings have been sagging since he left. You don't think they like LeBron, Laker, Anthony Davis talk, Kyrie to the Laker talk? They love this stuff. This, in America today, NFL is king, and the season's winding down. NBA's number 2. And it's very good on social media, and its stars drive the league. NFL is kind of driven by the system, kind of the brand, the shield. NBA is driven by its stars. You don't think Adam Silver loves that his stars are getting talked about on Super Bowl week, that I'm not leading my show? Adam Silver's told me before. He listens, he watches all this stuff. He takes the temperature of the room. Sports is all about real estate. And February, the NFL has been encroaching on the NBA's real estate for years. They've moved around free agency. They can move combines and drafts to get in the way of the NBA. This is the NBA firing back an arrow. Oh, it's Super Bowl week. Let's just make sure stories get out. Listen, this is not dangerous for the league. What they're doing is they're patronizing New Orleans. Adam Silver and the league are going, shame on you guys. Shame on you, Rich Paul. Shame on you, Anthony Davis. That is terrible. Here's a $50,000 fine. You're just patronizing New Orleans, which has had, let's be honest, a really crappy week. Between the call in the Rams game and Anthony Davis leaving, it ain't great for New Orleans and the Benson family. So this is patronizing them, saying, patting them on the back. We got your back on this, those bad star players. You think it's bad for the NBA that Anthony Davis joins LeBron in Los Angeles? Come on. And it's also not dangerous for the league. Basketball, from AAU to college basketball to the NBA, has always been about a handful of stars controlling the league. The NBA has always been about dynasties. The Celtics, Bill Russell won 11. And then you went into the Lakers, Jerry West and Wilt and Gail Goodrich. And then you had, the Pistons and then MJ and then Shaq and Kobe. And then And now we have the Warriors. The Miami Heat thing was like very, very close to a dynasty. 2 titles, 4 years. It's good. The only problem for the NBA is when the dynasty's boring like the Spurs dynasty was. But basketball at the AAU level, 3 best high school basketball players in America last year all chose Duke. This is what basketball players do. Stop watching the movie Hoosiers. It doesn't exist. That was a great movie. I loved Hoosiers. That's not what real basketball is about today. So star players moving. I'll tell you what's dangerous for the NBA. It's not stars going to big brands. What is absolutely dangerous for the NBA is 7 teams were tanking last year. That's not good. This year, by March, you're going to have about 10 tanking, trying to get that kid at Duke, Zion Williamson. You already got about 5 teams actively tanking. That may double in about a month. That's a problem for the NBA. This is great, great news for the NBA. And a $50,000 fine is a complete con job. It's pretending they care about New Orleans. Yesterday I had Chris Haynes on, who broke the Kyrie Irving is interested in getting in potentially going to Los Angeles. But Chris did say something during the show that I totally disagreed with. We had certain time restraints in regards to LeBron and Anthony Davis, and here it is.
I heard you mention Kevin Love and Chris Bosh before. Those guys are not on AD's level, Colin. I will say that. And AD is 25. If Anthony Davis came over to the Lakers, if they found a way to make it happen, LeBron would pass the keys to Anthony Davis. LeBron will play second fiddle to Anthony Davis.
I do not believe that, and here's why. 95% of players in this league play. They just play. Nothing wrong with that. About 5% lead. Michael Jordan led, Bird led, Magic led. Magic, by the way, the Lakers had a lot of good players. They had Kareem, wasn't a leader. Magic led and played. LeBron plays and leads. The Klay Thompson story, Lakers. The Kyrie Irving Lakers. AD to the Lakers. That's all engineered by LeBron. Clutch Sports. That's all engineered by LeBron. LeBron doesn't just play. He is a leader in this league. And the league's had a handful of. They had Jerry West. He was leading. They had, Bill Russell. There's not been a ton of great NBA leaders. There's been a million great NBA players. Magic Johnson, arguably the greatest leader the league's ever had. The league was in the toilet. He and Larry Bird saved it. But I do not believe for a second, because LeBron's been out for 35 days, he's given up the baton. Never forget this. LeBron has played 55,000 minutes. That is 8th all time. Okay, he's going to lead the NBA in minutes. He didn't have time to waste. He's coming off an injury. Okay, he wants this AD thing to happen fast. So he can get 25 or 30 games in with Anthony Davis. So when next year starts, they'll add another piece, which they will, and they're ready to roll. He didn't want to start with AD next year and figure 3.5 months figuring out if the chemistry works. So here's what happened. And this happened, Tom Brady got hurt and left for a year, and we forget about people. Don't forget, because LeBron's been out with not a major injury, but a more significant injury that was initially reported. When you miss 16, 17 games in 40 days, that's a real injury in the NBA for the best body in the league. But I don't believe for a second, because he's out of sight, he's not leading all these stories. I mean, LeBron still considers himself the best player in the NBA. This guy, he led the entire Eastern Conference until 3 months ago. He didn't come to L.A. to be somebody's valet. Anthony Davis is a great player. Show me his great leadership skills. He couldn't lead him to the playoffs with Boogie Cousins. Come on. 7 years in the league, one playoff series win. So I love Chris, but I still think sometimes what happens, players get hurt, players are out, and we just forget about them. We got people running for president in the United States that are 70 years old, and not just one. You got Bloomberg, and you got Bernie Sanders, and LeBron's 34 years old. Let's not go crazy here. He is still, last year, statistically, the best player in the NBA by not just a little. Not just a little. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.